Welcome to the Messy Success Podcast, where we are shining a light on being successful in an unconventional way. My name is Tracy French, and I am your host. I am a mom, wife, real estate agent, real estate investor, and real estate team leader. I'm joined by my friend and co-host, Jim Hill. We discuss how success in life doesn't always have to look the same, and we are here to prove that to you. Let's get started.
I'm just smiling.
I wish they could show like a video of what happens while that's playing. It's kind of funny.
We can.
Welcome back, everybody.
Welcome.
Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome for the first time.
I appreciate
my amazing guest. Our amazing guest, Zack Pitts.
Zack Pitts.
Yeah.
Yay.
Good to be here.
All right.
And I'm Jim Hill, one of the friends.
You left me hanging on that last time. Thank you.
I tried not to. I had it queued up in my head this time because you were very disappointed, much to my dismay. So
I was.
Tried to make up for it this time and might have ruined it again.
It's okay. Okay, I'm super excited about having Zack here today. And I thought so. I'm kind of embarrassed that I knew, of course, that you were University of Louisville athlete. I knew that you were a pitcher. But when I Googled you today and looked up, I didn't know you were such a great pitcher. I didn't know that you had like kicked rear end the way that you did.
Bad ASS.
And Louisville's website, the baseball team website, is pretty helpful. I printed all of this yummy.
I probably don't even know what it
yummy info on you. So so I'm gonna for you guys that don't know, Zack is. Are you co-owner?
We're co-owners.
Okay, co-owner of the brokerage that Jim and I work for, Remax Premier Properties. He also runs the Premier Property Management group that manages all of my rentals and hundreds of others in the city. He is I'm going to call you yoga master.
I don't know about that. I wouldn't say yoga master at all. But.
And he is an outstanding father to little P. And just an all-around really great person. And I'm so proud to call you my friend. Yeah. And I mean that.
Same.
Yes.
I appreciate it.
So let's see here what U of L had to say. So, they go all the way down to like you were born on March 30th, 1986 in Elizabethtown, Kentucky.
There we go.
The son of Jeffrey and Rhonda Pitts. Has one older brother. They don't even mention his name. We can make fun of him for that.
That's probably better.
You were a major in finance?
Yep.
Really? You're a numbers guy?
No. But it was practical at the time.
I want to read. It says, before the Cardinals won the Super Regional in Louisville, advancing to the College World Series in Omaha, his biggest thrill in sports was winning the Connie Mack World Series in 2004.
Yeah.
What is that?
So it's an under 18 team out of Cincinnati, and you play with. It was probably the best group of, baseball players I'd ever played with, and being from E-Town, you don't play with people that get drafted, and you don't play a ton with them, but some. But I think we had 25 guys on the team, and 23 played professional baseball.
Wow.
And
they're all from, where are they from?
First rounders all over the country.
So it's like kind of like an all-star team.
Yeah. So there was two guys that were drafted in the first round off of the Midland Redskins. So it's a team in Cincinnati.
Okay.
Cool.
I didn't know that was a thing either. Mm-hmm. So it says his hobbies and interests. I didn't know this about you either. Include training dogs.
I like training dogs in high school.
I've got one that you can train right now.
He sure does.
I wouldn't say I liked it then, but I haven't done that in a while.
And you find that liking.
If I can't train my 13-year-old how to not bark dog, how to not bark to get treats.
So you like it, you're just not very good at it.
Yeah.
I was going to say, when you find that liking again, You're welcome to try. Maybe your 13-year-old dog. It's the old dog, new tricks.
Yeah,
you can't do that. Mine's still very young and impressionable. He's like 13 weeks.
There we go.
You are welcome
to come over.
Yeah. And yes, because thankfully he is cute.
Well, that's good.
Because otherwise, boy, oh boy.
He is pretty cute.
I'll just leave it at that.
And you play ping pong.
In college, played a lot.
That is so funny. Like Forrest Gump.
Why is it that my head went to Forrest Gump also as soon as you said that?
Oh, it's funny. Was it you that said you were watching? Jim called, or we were talking about something the other night on the phone, real estate, of course, and he said, "I'm watching one of the greatest movie of all time," and I said, "Forrest Gump."
Absolutely.
He was surprised that I guessed what movie he was watching.
I'm not a smart man, but I know what love is.
Ooh, speaking of movies, it says your favorite movies are 300 and Shooter. I don't know what either one of those are.
Oh, Shooter's a good one.
Shooter was a good one. Yeah. 300. I wouldn't say it's in there now, but it was good at the time. It's like,
you like to watch Nip Tuck?
I did.
Oh, that explains a lot.
That's funny. Entourage. I'm just amazed. Like all of this is on the U of L Cardinals website. This is what's funny to me.
The funny thing is, it's from college.
Is this funny to hear?
Yeah, it is hilarious.
Stuff?
I'm like, wow.
A lot of
really
that's still
did
relevant,
watch that.
though.
Well,
Entourage is a great show.
It says Entourage and Rock of Love on TV. Is that the one where
Hold on, where's that one? Is this mine?
It is you, yeah.
Is that Rock of Love with Brett
Somebody
Michaels?
made
with
that
Brett
up.
Michaels.
Oh, that was a good one.
Oh, that is. Yeah, I actually did watch that.
See?
I was him for Halloween one year.
I'm supposed to read it, not you.
No. Let's correct. He was you.
He was me.
I'm totally kidding.
Give me my sheet back.
Sorry.
You're cheating.
I was just trying to figure out.
You listen to country and rock music. Yeah. I love country music.
Yep.
Michael Jordan, Mariano Rivera, and Cal Ripken Jr. He's a good one.
Yeah.
Are your favorite Are they still your favorite athletes?
I would say so. Cal Ripken, definitely. Michael Jordan. I mean, how could you not like Michael Jordan?
True.
He's the GOAT.
Mariano Rivera is pretty awesome too.
Favorite foods. What do you think it says?
Probably buffalo chicken.
No.
Pizza.
Trix.
Oh,
cereal.
Cereal.
Twix and steak and potatoes.
Oh, steak and potatoes.
Your palate has changed since college.
Probably.
What do you think it says your favorite baseball team is?
The Orioles.
All right, so that's still the same.
That was Cal Ripken.
His dream dinner guest. Do you remember what? Oh, this is funny.
No.
Dane Cook, comedian Dane Cook.
Yeah, he's funny.
Abe Lincoln.
Ooh.
That's a good one. This one's
Honest
really
Abe.
funny. The next
Blake
one,
Shelton.
Jessica Simpson.
Oh.
You just thought she was pretty.
Probably.
I'm sure.
She's come a long way recently.
Your Uncle Larry Gilbert plays golf on the senior PGA tour.
Yeah, he did.
That's pretty cool.
He did.
Oh, and you did mention your brother Jay played at Bellarmine College. Not many people know that you have an 18-inch steel rod in your leg?
Yeah.
Tell us about that.
I broke.
Stop it.
Yeah. Yeah. So I broke my femur in 8th grade. And so they had to.
Are you going to tell us how?
Playing
Jim,
football.
stop.
I'm not saying anything. That's what she said.
Oh, my God.
We can cut that out. Sorry.
You did it how again?
Playing football.
Playing football.
Yeah.
Okay.
Actually, so we were at a wedding last weekend for my cousin, and my 8th grade football coach was there, and he said that he was traumatized from that.
Oh.
And I was like, well, he remembered. He's like, hey, every couple months I think about that.
Wow.
And, he approached me at this wedding, and I was like, wow, you were probably more traumatized than I was.
Was it kind of like a Kevin Ware break? Where Oh, really?
Yeah, so like
I would be traumatized by that too.
Like I looked down at my leg, and you could see my thigh pointing in the air, and I could feel my toes in the grass, and my knee wasn't bent.
Holy crap.
So, they gave
Yikes.
me morphine on the field, and they said they could hear the screams at the school was probably like half a mile away.
Was your mom there?
No.
Oh, thank God.
But they didn't tell me you can die from breaking your femur until, I didn't learn that until a couple years ago.
I did. I learned it right now.
Yeah,
I was today years old when I found that out.
Today years old. There we go.
Yes, I was.
That's crazy. I had no idea.
Yeah. So.
You did okay though.
Yeah. I grew 6 inches the year after. So
it's crazy. It's
around the femur.
That didn't affect.
It did. And I'm just like my left side, like all my injuries have always been on my left side.
And that's the leg you broke?
That's the leg I broke. And then my left knee and I tore my left Achilles.
All right, so I have to ask, does the metal detector when you fly, does it go off?
It does not.
Oh, it does not for me either.
I know.
I have a metal rod in my collarbone.
Okay.
I still have like 8 bolt screws or whatever screwed in there. So
that's crazy.
Yeah, not as crazy as yours. It didn't pop out of the skin or anything.
Mine didn't pop out of the skin, but it luckily.
Ugh. So, wow.
Anyway.
Yeah, nasty.
I can't believe you're reading through this.
I know, because it's so interesting to me and it's interesting to me to see that you don't remember.
I don't remember.
This is bringing back memories for you too. High school, you lettered twice, and I didn't know you played basketball.
Yep.
So it sounds like basketball, football, and baseball.
I did not play. Well, so after that ended my football career, the femur. And so I played basketball 2 years.
And yeah, so lettered. So I guess lettered means you played a varsity sport.
Correct.
Okay. And obviously 4 times for baseball. Named All-State as a junior and senior. Mm-hmm. Named News Enterprise Player of the Year.
Yep.
Team MVP, team captain. Ooh, this is cool. Wendy's High School Heisman recipient and Gatorade
I think
Player
it sounds
of the Year.
a lot cooler than it was. I don't think I really.
Whatever. That's pretty awesome.
I don't know.
Anything with the word Heisman in it is cool.
Yeah.
86 strikeouts. And what does this mean? 1.58 ERA as a senior.
Earned run average.
I was an athlete and I didn't know what that meant. I was impressed by this. We don't have to go through the whole thing, but that was
thank you.
Pretty awesome. I should have known you. If you've been in his office, there's like a massive
I've seen it.
Picture on the wall of him throwing a ball. Like, I even looked up your baseball card with
with the Cardinals.
Nope, I didn't see that one. I only saw it was a weird name.
Oh, the Muck Dogs.
Yeah,
it's the Cardinals farm system.
So it's like their AAA team.
They're single A team.
Single. What's the difference?
Way lower.
A level.
Okay.
Many levels.
So okay. Without going through all of those things, let me turn my little page here. Okay. I want to know, tell me about your college baseball experience, but more specifically, the best memory of playing on that team.
The best memory was pitching in Omaha on Father's Day.
Oh, man.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Did the family go?
Yes. My parents didn't miss a game my junior or senior season.
Wow.
And so they went to every game.
Every game. Across the country, no matter where you were.
Wherever it was. They traveled to every game. So that was probably the best memory. And I didn't have the best outing, so it wasn't. But my favorite outing would have been in the Super Regional here.
I already know what you're going to say.
And got interviewed on ESPN after the game. And I was scared to death to pitch. I was so nervous. And
so hold on, set us up for that. For those who don't know, I'm local here, so I remember that. Jim, so set us up.
Okay, so we won the regional. So it was the first time U of L baseball had won a postseason game. So we won the regional, and the first game of the regional. So all year I have the single season record for innings pitched, and so all year I had thrown 7 to 8 innings every Friday, which is the first game of the week, and set our team up to have our pitching staff up to have a good weekend.
So you were the ace.
Yeah, at that point, yes. But in the regional, I only pitched 2 innings, and so that put our whole pitching staff behind. And so guys were throwing. It was just out of order, really. And then, so I wanted to have a really successful super regional to set our team up to go, to have a great weekend.
And that's the last stop before Omaha, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
And it was the second that I was pitching the day. It was the second day of the draft. So 5 teams called me, and you have to kind of decide your future.
No
5
pressure.
teams said, "Hey, if we draft you early today, will you sign?" And I'm nervous about pitching tomorrow, and I'm like, you couldn't grease a BB up my ass. And and then so I was telling the teams, I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know what I'm going to do. And
what teams were calling you?
I think it was like the Braves, the
Oh,
White
Nice.
Sox.
I knew that you would.
A couple other, but like, and I was nervous. So we had a guy on the team who had played at Oklahoma State.
Mm-hmm.
And so he knew their hitters, and they had a couple guys hitting 400, which was all,
That's
400
good.
average is not bad.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was super nervous and go into that game and then end up throwing a shutout, which means they didn't get any runs and
Yeah.
set it up. It was good.
How much? Go ahead.
I was going to ask. So when these teams are calling you, like, is it the actual GM that
No,
calls? I
no,
didn't
no.
think so.
It's a scout, the area scout. That,
Gotcha.
and that was rounds. The second day was the start of round 6, and like, hey, if we draft you early today, which you don't know what that equates to money wise, and at that point I didn't understand that it was a business, and I didn't get it.
Huge Braves fan over here. If
Yep.
you already knew that, but yeah, big Braves fan over here. I was so glad that they won the World Series this year. So glad.
So you
Anyways.
didn't know before walking out on the field to play that game that day. You didn't know you were being drafted, or you did, or like.
No, I knew that the possibility was there, but I didn't, and I did get drafted that day or the next day in a late round,
Mm-hmm.
but I could have gotten drafted earlier had I
Had
said
you
I was gonna sign and leave school. I was still undecided on what I wanted, but baseball at that point is a business, right? And
Does it
I was
always?
still playing it as a game.
Does it always fall? That's terrible timing for
It
someone.
did. It was terrible. I felt like it was terrible timing,
Yeah.
but
So is it? Do you know? Is it like that every year where they're
No, it
drafting
is not.
during? Like
it is
that's
not.
man, that's tough. Tough
But-
stuff right there.
But
Clearly, it didn't affect you. You still came out and.
yeah, I did well. And then Jay flicked me off behind the camera.
in the ESPN interview.
Uh-huh.
Please Google that.
Well, you see my face, and I don't think you can find it. I've tried to find it since.
That's
I think I have it,
fantastic.
but you see my face, like I start smiling because he's behind the camera flicking me off.
Anyone who has any hookups to someone at ESPN who can pull that out of the archives, because we're so popular, they're listening. We need to see that. You got. I don't want to move on to the next one yet because it's too early.
Okay. So you want me to ask some questions?
Yeah.
All right, we can do that.
All right, Jim.
So no,
Let's go.
I've always been curious. So like as a kid, I played baseball. I was not very good. Clearly, I didn't play like high level. It was just like city rec league and all the things. But like so in that game, like I've always been curious the mindset of a pitcher. When you're getting lit up or when you're shutting somebody out. Like I have to imagine the range of emotions on the mound. If you can expand
you just never, I think, never get too high, never get too low, right? I think that's in anything. And look at, any guy, you don't know what's happening when it's in the moment, right? You prepare, you have all the things, right? You do all the things to be successful, and then you just let it fall how it should.
Sure.
After you prepare.
I'm also curious because I grew up in a baseball family too. My dad was a pitcher, and my older brother played college ball. He was a shortstop, and he was also a pitcher for a long time. But you see pitchers so often, especially now. When I was growing up, you didn't have to play baseball all year round. Mm-mm. It was very different then. Like you could still be, I get my brother, for example, they didn't get fall ball until late in his career. So you actually had an off season. Mm-hmm. And the way that it is now, you almost don't get that, because if you get an off season, then you're not keeping up with the Joneses and everyone's passing you up. You got to so.
But to be honest, even so you're talking younger, and I always look at Preston and the way, Jay's son plays now. I mean, they play a lot and practice a lot. But I mean, if you read, Derek Jeter was a 3-sport athlete, and it's about being an athlete, right? And
for pitchers though, especially, how did you keep your arm healthy?
Well, I would take time off, and you just it's all about organizing it and kind of taking care of yourself. And whether I did it right or not, I don't know. I feel like I could have been healthier. I could have been better, more on top of things with regard to nutrition and eating and all. And then towards the end, my velocity dropped. So I don't know if maybe something happened. I don't know.
So then let's
answer the question.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's go back to you did get drafted. So what happened then?
Well, I got drafted my junior season, and I came back to U of L for a senior season, and then I got drafted after my senior season and went. But
hold on a second.
Okay.
So I thought, and this is where I'm learning here, you can go into the draft and then not go and still come back?
Correct.
Because I thought that if you entered the draft, you had to go.
No, after a certain age, you can get drafted. Right.
Okay.
So before you go to college, you can get drafted out of high school. And you can go. Or I think it's when you're 21, I think.
Is basketball different?
Basketball is different.
That's what, okay. So
I think. Maybe it's not. I don't know. I'm going to be honest.
I think with basketball, as long as you don't sign with an agent, or you can declare for the draft with basketball, and then you've got up to a certain I think this is right, up to a certain time to withdraw, and you have to not sign with an agent for basketball. And then if you withdraw by the deadline and you have not signed with an agent, I think you can come back.
Yeah.
Okay, so you chose to come back and finish out your senior season.
Correct.
And are you happy with that decision?
Yeah, I am actually. It's would things have been different if I'd have got a 6-figure signing bonus? Yes. Dad always would say, don't do it for the money. Right. And so at that point in my life, I don't think I was ready to take baseball as a business. And it is a business when you get to that level. I mean, it's just like real estate in certain aspects. And I didn't understand the business of it.
Yeah.
Until I was there. I was like, oh, because I always like to say, and Jay kept, I don't know if Jay told me that, I got a hot dog and a plane ticket. Right. I mean, it was $1,000, which ended up a $1,000 signing bonus, which ended up, after taxes, $600.
So then, okay.
And you make $1,100. I think it was $1,100 or $1,300 a month. And then you still got to pay $325 to live in this guy's basement. You got to live in his basement, and he's got cinder block walls for the shower.
Talk about living the dream.
You're on a pull-out couch, and the other guy's on a twin bed. There's 2 guys paying him $325 a month. So $650 to live in this guy's basement, kind of close to the field.
So you went to
no
St.
car.
Louis?
No, it was Batavia, New York, upstate New York, between Buffalo and Rochester. And you don't go to the bar Billy Goats, supposedly. Then, but because there's a lot of prisons around Batavia. That's what they would say. But I didn't have a car. I was biking around town. I would have to and then you go on bus trips, and I bought a really nice rain jacket because I would sleep on the floor of the bus, and I was always mad about somebody's dip spilling and running on me.
Ew.
Oh
my God. I have to tell you a story because you said, so my older brother is a dip spit person. And there was a point in time, he used to spit in 2-liter bottles.
Oh, terrible.
Dip
you don't
spit,
even know.
Not to be confused with. Proceed.
So I remember he said it, apparently it was sitting on the kitchen table, and this particular time, it was not, I made the mistake of thinking that it was like a Coke.
Oh no.
Oh, that's terrible.
And it was, that's what made me think
you
of.
drink it?
I did. It was foul. I will never forget it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
Makes my stomach hurt.
carry on. So rain jacket.
Rain jacket, dip spit. But it sucked. I mean, I guess it was great, but it wasn't for me.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you next. When did you leave and come
So
home?
I got cut after my first half season.
Mm-hmm.
So I came to spring training the next year and got cut, and then went home and I bounced around to a few independent league teams, and then it was over.
And then
and then I jumped into real estate.
And here we are.
So it was, I mean, it was hard at that point, like, because, you have this dream and it was a big part of my identity.
Yeah.
And I didn't understand at that time that was, there's Zach, he plays baseball. And it's even weird talking about it now because I haven't talked about it in a long time.
Yeah.
Even though I played.
Yeah. So it's like, what are you without that?
Yeah, exactly.
So you come home
and I didn't even, and it took me probably to understand that was I just jumped into real estate and went full steam ahead, doing all the things I do. And it's over the past 2 years, I've realized that I was searching for my identity then. And then when I've come recently to understand some identity things about myself.
Yeah. And that's funny that you say that because that's kind of that was a perfect lead in. You should be a co-host on a podcast. That's kind of what I really wanted.
I still have my job over here.
What I wanted to hit on today, because those of you who don't know, the last couple of years for Zach have been very, very some really dark times and very challenging, but I think it's something that so many people can relate to. And
I'm grateful for them.
Yeah. And it's kind of why I don't know if you remember when we were in Orlando, I was like, you need to be a speaker and talk to, like, motivational speaker, because you have a lot to say and you've learned a lot. And
100%.
And I love that you're open about it.
Right.
And I think it's because you are in such a good place now,
right,
that you can look back on that and, kind of like the post that I made yesterday, it was about addiction, but it was like, don't be ashamed to tell your story.
For sure.
Because you can help someone. And I really hope that that's what happens today with you and your story.
Yeah.
So let's go back. Well, I'll just say, now it goes to my question number 2, the D word.
Yeah.
Divorce.
Right.
It's very real, and unfortunately, it affects a lot of families, it's very hard. Even I've never been through divorce, but I've witnessed it, and I think even when a divorce is both parties are in mutual, even the divorce that is not, what's the word I'm looking for? I need my good, smart people to come up.
When the divorce is not when they're not.
When it's
when
just
you're
people
both
go
in
their
agreement.
separate.
Yeah. I mean, like,
even that is hard. So
for sure.
So tell me about.
There's many layers to it.
Yeah.
I will say in Orlando, that's where Zach and I became best good friends. We sure did. There were no old fashions. None at all. We can maybe hit on some of those points, but not to divert too far away from the subject. I just want to throw that out there.
Yeah.
That's where I feel
that was a good time that I missed because I was in the room.
Yes.
I probably should have been in the room.
Hey,
no.
Let me just tell you what. You made my weekend.
Well, there we go. That's all that matters then.
And, in
Success.
some small way, even though you may not remember it, I think I made yours a little bit.
Yeah, for sure.
So,
yeah.
Was he doing, so Zach is a pretty avid yoga participant.
Yes.
And he busted out the yoga
I did.
in the hotel lobby.
And
there were some handstands.
fell on my face a couple times, but that's okay.
It's totally okay. So I would say, I don't know. I kind of want to leave it open to you and how you want to talk about what you went through. And I think it's really important to touch on going through a divorce is heartbreaking and super, super difficult, but going through a divorce during COVID is on a whole nother level.
Yeah.
I can't even imagine how one, because I'm sure there are so many people that were dealing with that. But to do it through COVID when you don't have a lot of distractions.
Well, it makes you, I mean, you had to face it.
It forces you.
Yeah, you
to
have to
live
face
in
it. You have to slow down
Yeah.
and like live with it and just in process and not. I mean, I think there are a lot of people that it slowed down, so they saw things that they never saw before.
Yeah.
And I try, even like, I feel like 2021 has flown by.
Mm-hmm.
And
I agree.
2020, I felt like crept by. And maybe that was the situation, and maybe it was where I was at personally. And, you know, I was just I guess we're doers, you know, Jay and I, and, you know, we just do, like we're like, okay, well, what can I do to affect, to make positive change? And that's what I've started working on myself and realizing my priorities and for my daughter, and just tried to look at, you know, a lot of people try and, I don't know, I guess I'm talking about other people, but I know myself, I just tried to look for the people around me, like you, and see, okay, what does Tracy do to build her team up? What does Tracy do to build people up? And I started like trying get out of my own stuff and focus on somebody else.
Do you feel like, and I think this is kind of where you're going, for me anyways, being that for someone else, helping someone else or helping other people feel positive in some sort of way does help me.
Heck yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of, I don't even know how to explain it, but go ahead.
Yeah. I mean, I've watched you buy one of your, you know, like the Apple Watch, you know, she didn't have an Apple Watch.
Yeah.
And I was like, and we talked about it. And then Tracy goes and buys her one just because like it was,
I forgot about that.
And like, I watched that and I was like, wow, I want to be more like that. You know, see a need, fill a need, see somebody you care about and just give without
I just
asking.
had to replace mine if you like want to reimburse me for it. I'm kidding.
Well, he's referring to, so Robin, who is my assistant.
Who's wonderful, by the way.
She is. She has also had a, really tough 2020. She was battling cancer and she knew she was going to have surgery. And she mentioned to me, she was going to be bedridden for a little bit. And I thought, well, if I get her an Apple Watch, that will help her not feel like she has to have her phone in her hand all the time, and it'd be easier to just turn her wrist over and see, is this something important enough to reach for my phone? Yeah. And I know that I didn't realize that you even paid attention to that. So that's,
I would just watch. I mean, and those are things that I didn't pay attention to before. I would say like awareness, and that goes to yoga, to getting divorced, to all the, getting my daughter 50% of the time now. So just me and her. And so it's just trying to understand like where you're at and how to be better.
Do you feel that in some ways going through a divorce made you a better father?
100%. No doubt.
And that so even like you said, she may not be in your house 100% of the time anymore, but I think just from knowing you and being around you for the last couple of years, she's getting more of you than she ever got.
100%. And like I feel like I was in a trance, I felt like, because I was so focused on work and I was, so driven, and I'm always driven, but like I wanted, like, it's like, okay, you get this goal. Like you got to hit the goal. You got to hit the goal no matter what. And I was sacrificing time with her, just sacrificing a lot and didn't realize what I was sacrificing. And so one of the things I've told myself recently is like, okay, in 10 years, your daughter, when she's introducing you at school, she could say, certain things about you. She's like, here's my dad, he's a great businessman. He does super well. Remax Premier Properties is great. Da, 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 da. Or she could say, hey, here's my dad. He's my best friend. He's at every game. He's always present with me. We play outside. We play in the grass. Like, I want to choose.
Right.
I want to be intentional of how I get there. And before it was like, no matter, all means necessary. Here's the goal. All means necessary to get it.
Mm-hmm.
And I realized like I missed the boat on all these things.
Yeah. Golly, I feel like you're talking to me right now. Not because of divorce.
No,
not at all because of divorce. It's so crazy because we've hit on this a couple different times early on the episodes that we've had. But my I guess for lack of a better phrase, my divorce from my previous company. And it was like I felt like I was super driven all the time, still super driven. Tracy knows I'm probably as competitive as they come.
Right.
But it's funny. It's like all the things that I was neglecting at home in my previous job because I was trying to, do such a great job. I mean, obviously I wasn't married to my job, but I was.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, I lose this job. Right, wrong, or indifferent. And it's like, whoa. And it forced me to recenter. And it's like now, for the past year and a half, I'm, been doing real estate and everything is wonderful. I'm home. It's funny because my kids now get more of me than they ever did when I was in my previous job.
Yeah.
And it's so bizarre, like the parallels. I mean, of course, I'm not going to sit here and try to equate losing a job to having to going through a divorce. I know there's a lot of differences, but in principle, there's a lot of parallels to that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then even now, I mean, because I was in, I when I was home, I wasn't home.
Yeah, it's so funny because I've said this to a couple different people here recently that are close to me. I didn't realize how unhappy I was in my previous job, and until that unhappiness was taken away, whether I thought that I wanted it to be taken away or not, when it was taken away and I was forced to make a change, then I realized, holy crap, look at what I was missing.
Oh yeah.
And it's wild how something so tragic in the moment can turn out to be so positive in the long term.
100%.
Yeah, I feel like that absolutely. Again, just hearing your transformation over the last couple of years, I am almost certain that in the midst of the storm, and I'm going to call it a storm, you probably never dreamed that you would come out of it and say, you know what, that was supposed to happen.
100%.
But I do.
No, it was. And like, I think, and I'm thankful for it. And, because, I've just where I am at today.
Yeah.
And where I'm at with my family, where I'm at with my daughter, where I'm at professionally, all the things.
Look at us.
I know.
So now my next, again, I didn't have a lot of questions, but I knew that like the questions that I had were kind of deep and could touch on a lot of things. And the next question that I have, because goodness gracious, not only going through that in 2020, but to experience the loss of your dad.
Oh yeah.
Wow. But I want to.
No, you're fine.
I want to talk about the good stuff.
No, I mean, we could, talk about anything.
I will, like, Jim, you haven't been around the office too long, but even before I joined the office, like, I knew the Pitts name, and he is kind of a legend in the real estate world. I have to tell you this.
Okay.
When I went to the to E-Town to the memorial? The viewing.
Oh yeah.
Where, and I met your mom for the first time. Sweet as can be, and she talks so country. I just love it. But I knew that your dad knew who I was.
Right.
But your mom, she said, it's so nice to meet you. Jeff just thought the world of you. He said to me one day, I want to get this right. He said, that girl's got it going on.
Right.
And I'm like, oh my gosh. Like, she doesn't know this, but I was so honored when she told me that
That's
he,
awesome.
because, you know, like especially being around you and Jay, I hear about him all the time.
Right.
And how much of an influence that he was on you guys. So I was super honored that he even spoke of me without me. You know what I mean?
For sure.
It made my day, honestly. And then, so I want to know this because I hear little bits and pieces of things. What is your best or the most memorable advice or lesson that your dad gave you? I know there's a lot because you all mention them here and there.
You know, there's so many things. I actually have his little pocket journal that I write in some of the quotes of his that I gave him, and then my mom gave it back to me. So, I mean, I don't lie, cheat, or steal, or tolerate anyone who does. How do you eat an elephant? A bite at a time.
So, yeah, I heard that one too. How do you eat an elephant a bite at a time?
Well, just like start where you stand, use what you have. Along the way, better tools will be provided.
Very simple things that.
Yeah, I mean, most of them are very simple, but then you start, you know, in sports. So tying this back to sports, like he always told me to be so good they had no option.
Yes.
So I would go and like complain about something. He was like, be so good they have no option. And if you're so good they have no option, you got nothing to complain about.
Right.
You know, like don't complain. Like basically shut your mouth. Go to work.
I like that. I'm kind of like that too. I don't want to hear any excuses.
Right.
Just
and
handle
so
business.
that was those and you know, you start realizing like, and I've just, you know, obviously when he passes and you can't hear those things anymore, those little, you know, phrases that he would pound into my head, you start realizing like, wow, I got so much from him.
Yeah.
And I guess I took it for granted maybe, you know,
I think we all do.
I hate that. But, you know, now it's like, man, you know, I'll journal in the morning and be like, I just want to say, hey, like, how are you? And it's, yeah. So anyways.
You got to go.
Man, that it's, you know, I mean, not to be cliche, but it's just, you know, you don't know what you got until it's gone. So,
right,
I mean, 100%. It's not that you didn't take full advantage necessarily when you had it. But,
well,
you know,
but I mean, nobody prepares you for that or to lose your father. I mean, nobody does. So but you know, now it's like, I just, with my mom, just trying to be a small piece of him to her.
Yeah.
You know, and trying to honor what I know he would want me to do or the type of person that he'd want me to be.
Yeah. I think you're doing a good job.
Thank you. So I didn't even like Jay and I talk about it, you know, because I think he was sick and then I got divorced and he wanted so bad to fix it.
Yeah.
He wanted to fix it. He was like, let me fix this. I was like, Dad, you can't fix this.
You went to stay with them.
Well, I would stay with them a lot. You know, I mean, me and my daughter would go down there. They had a pool in E-Town, and we'd go down there and stay, and you know, for days during the pandemic, and just sit because I mean, it was either me and P or there, and so it was all I was trying to tell my mom, and it's hard right now with her and her grief to see the positives, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's too soon.
It's too early.
It's too soon.
Very, very new still.
And, but I tried to tell her those and, you know, tell her it's okay to be where she's at. But, so what was I getting at? Going down to E-Town, staying. But I was thankful that I got to spend more time with them.
It's so funny because although this whole pandemic has been such a pain in the rear end in so many ways as far as limiting us on what we were able to do, it actually, had you not, I mean, just think you would not have been able to spend that extra quality time.
No.
So I don't know, it's got a funny way of forcing us into situations that
100%.
we needed to be in without us realizing it at the time.
Right.
So I want to, go ahead.
I was just say one thing I think that gets lost in moments of difficulty, no matter what it is I think sometimes the world expects us to shoulder whatever and keep pushing forward without showing, emotion, so to speak. And I've seen, and I guess one of the things that I've learned, in my experience of dealing with things that are negative, it's okay to be upset.
Mm-hmm.
It is totally okay to do that. It is okay to be upset. And you know what? It's okay. It's okay to verbalize, that you're upset or frustrated or, to a certain extent. Obviously, you don't need to go on some unhealthy social media immature rant. But at the same time, I think it's healthy to say, hey, you know what? I don't like that, or I'm upset about that, and here's why, and talk with somebody. I think a lot of people choose to bottle things up, and that's worse, in my opinion.
I did it for 34 years.
Yeah, and being able to speak semi-openly about things, there's always somebody willing to listen. I mean, I guess you got to make sure. Who was it that said, Todd in our last episode said his circle became so small it became a period. Well, as long as you find the people that can fit, that are inside that period that you can talk to, that's okay. And I think 100%. That a lot of people need to hear that. You don't have to hold things in. You don't have to deal with this all by yourself. There are people out there, that can help in any aspect.
Absolutely.
I never talked to anybody. I didn't know what my emotions were.
Well, I was going to ask, so you say for 34 years you held it in. So
because
were you not
before the divorce, I never could, I would just bowl through it.
Mm-hmm.
Full steam ahead. Sell a lot of real estate.
So you're very different than that now.
100%.
I feel like you are, and don't get me wrong, it's not like I've known you.
No, I'm way more open and but I had to talk to people. I had to open up and say I'm struggling.
Yeah.
And I walked into church and I walked into the when you're in church, have you the room where you say that's where all the messed up people go?
Mm.
So I walked in there and asked for help.
Wow.
So you start, until it was funny. One of the guys I met from that, he was like, what did that feel like? I was like, man, I don't know. I was in such a bad way. I just needed help. I wouldn't talk to Jay. I wouldn't even talk to my family. They had no idea
about
what they did, but they had no idea where I was,
how it was affecting you.
Yeah.
Really.
And what, Jay and I, if we'd talk, we'd argue.
Mm-hmm.
And now we have such a good relationship and we see each other, you start to know where people are and you're like, hey, are you, because people say they're good.
Yeah.
But then I always want to ask, are you good?
Yeah.
You're good. I know I'm good. It's like they're trying to tell themselves they're good rather than being
and
good.
You never know when you do that, say that to someone, how much they probably really need someone to notice.
For sure.
Are you really okay?
Well, and then, there's people so Phil Wonderlick did it for me at the office. He looked at me and it's like, I felt like he stared right through me.
Mm-hmm.
And
deep into your soul.
Yeah. And he was like, let's go to dinner. And so that was, to me, I was like, man, I want to be like that.
Wow.
And, you start seeing people.
Did he play with you on the same team?
He did. He was a freshman when I was a senior.
Okay.
And then Phil works at the office.
Does he know that he was that person for you?
I tell him that now. I said, thank you.
Yeah.
I have told him, I say thank you. I think I've told him a bunch, but.
Well, and now I think that you as a leader of your team, you probably inspire me. You probably inspire them so much. You're so, here's the thing. Even before this, I always thought Zack was always someone I could cut up with or be silly with. But now you are still that.
Right.
But there's just something different about the way you're just it's hard to put it into words. Like what's the word I'm looking for?
Comfortable.
You're at peace, happy. Like you're just really genuinely seem happy and ready to just conquer the world.
Yeah.
It's all that
honestly.
hot yoga. You sweat out the demons.
We're going to get him doing a handstand before the podcast is over.
Don't do it.
But I cannot not talk about this because I called your big brother before. You know, I told you earlier. I was like, what can we say to embarrass Zach on the episode today?
Oh.
So he said, you used to start so much crap with people
growing up.
And he would have to fight battles for you.
He would.
Because you would run your mouth.
Yes.
I have to tell you. Okay. So tell us about the time you were in the shower and you ended up punching him and then giving him a bloody nose.
I don't remember that.
You don't remember.
I don't remember that.
So he says
he slapped me with a towel, didn't he?
Yes. He slapped you. So Jay
I gave him a bloody nose. I don't remember that. I remember we used to frog each other.
Mm-hmm.
And I knocked him
in
down.
The shower?
No.
Oh.
Not in the shower.
Sorry.
So he said you were in the shower. He came in the shower and he did the whole little towel thing really hard. And you punched him in the nose and blood was coming from his nose.
I don't remember that.
How do you not remember
giving
your big brother a bloody nose?
I mean, I'm kind of glad.
So let me ask you, this wasn't in my list of questions today, but what is one thing? It's got to be, I would think that it can sometimes be difficult being a business owner with a family member, and especially a big brother, little brother, always kind of have this, big brother, little brother dynamic sort of thing. But what is one thing, I'm going to ask him this too when he comes on too.
Okay.
What is one thing about Jay that is a positive thing about him that you're really, I don't know, what's
appreciative of?
Grateful.
Yeah, all of those things.
I don't know that I don't think there's ever been he didn't have to partner with me on the company, right? The companies but it was like always we were going to do that.
Yeah.
Together. And from mowing grass and I guess that confidence in me when I didn't have it in myself. And, I think I'm just grateful to, get to learn. And I always tell him, I'm like, you were the best example, sometimes he's the best example of what not to do, but then I still don't listen.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, don't do that. Or he paved the path and and I guess I've been so stubborn sometimes to even just watch. So, he's probably my greatest mentor, but I would never call him a mentor. If that makes sense. Does that make, what I mean? It's like,
that's that little brother.
Yeah, that's the little brother. That's like me. I'm like, oh, hell no, he is not my mentor.
Yeah, exactly.
And but he is. And, I was telling him recently, so my dad never got out of worrying about me. And I told him, I was just told him I was grateful for him that because the conversations that I feel like I wanted to have with my dad going forward. And, as I've kind of gotten that peace and feel comfortable in my own skin is I won't get to have, but I can have them with them. And so, I'm grateful for that. I don't know if that answered. I think
totally
I answered
does.
The question.
It totally does. And, how awesome is your sister-in-law too?
Oh, yeah.
The sister you never had, right?
Yes. She's been around since I was 16. So she's seen me since I was 16.
Little goofy
a little
Zach.
6'3", 140 pound. I don't know.
Beanpole.
But no, she's been around for a long time and I'm super grateful.
My fun question of the day.
Fun question.
What does P want for Christmas from Santa?
She's all over the place. She is all over the place. She said it's like a stuffed animal, which, yeah, it's fine. And then I've heard she said she wanted a puppy. And I was like, no.
I've got one.
No.
She can have.
No.
You can take his puppy
right
and
now.
train it and then give it back.
But no.
Don't do it.
Puppies, don't do it right
No.
now. Not until you have infinite hours to follow it around and make sure it does not chew or do something else. And don't do it.
Yeah, no.
And I love dogs. I'm a dog person. Like I like. Yeah, sorry, I'm getting us off track here.
We have no track. There's no track here.
But then she is getting a pink bike. So
A pink bike?
yeah, so pedal
Can she
bike.
ride it yet? Is she gonna learn?
She's got a balance bike that she rides, but she's getting a pedal bike.
Was that on Shark Tank?
I don't know.
It doesn't have
Doesn't have
pedals.
Pedals.
Perfect thing ever.
It was on
It's
Shark
the
Tank.
perfect thing ever. So, quick story. My kids both. We had it's called a Strider bike, the one we had, anyways. And my son didn't take a whole lot of interest in it, but then one day we were living in Memphis, and one of his little friends that was in his class came riding down the road like on a pedal bike, and was riding it, no training wheels, no nothing, and they're the same age. So my son was like, "Well, I want to ride a bike with, I want to ride a pedal bike without training wheels." So I was like, "All right, well," and this is in the midst of COVID, so like we're not going in the office every day, and I'm like, "Well, I ain't got nothing else to do. I mean, so let's figure it out." So we go outside. Well, here's Lola, my daughter. We've got this Strider bike that my son never took much interest in. She's like, "Well, I want to ride too," so I set her up on this bike, and she's like going along right with us on the Strider bike. She's getting really good at it. I'm like watching her as I'm teaching my son how to ride. Took me about a week or a few days to get my son. So then Lola says, "Hey, I want a bike with feet things."
Feet things.
Yeah, talking about pedals. And so her birthday was coming up, and so my in-laws got her a pink bike with pedals. Didn't even put the training wheels on it. She
That's
pops
awesome.
on it in like 2 hours. She's up and down the road.
And how old was she?
She was 5.
Nice.
No, excuse me.
I was
I'm
going
sorry.
to say, she had to have been like,
She was 4. She had just turned 4.
that's pretty sweet.
4 years old, up and down the street, pedal bike.
That's awesome.
And yeah, it's so the Strider bike thing or the balance bike, because evidently they say the hardest part about learning how to ride a bike is the balance. It's not the pedaling.
Mm-hmm.
That
makes sense.
I don't know who they are, but that's what they say.
Yeah. Who they are. There we go.
Where's the best place to go to yoga?
I go to Bend and Zen in Westport Village.
Who is it?
Bend and Zen.
Bend and Zen.
Yeah.
Oh, Bend. Like
Bend.
bendy.
Yeah. So
All right.
it's fun.
What's your favorite yoga pose?
Oh, I don't know.
What's your favorite hair color?
Purple.
Oh, get out of here.
You want to? We can end it on the purple hair story.
No.
I'm just kidding. We won't.
Oh no! You know what? Not because I'll talk about the purple hair story. So here I am, a brand new agent. We're like I'm brand new, and everybody's like, "Hey, we need to go to this thing called R4. It's in Orlando." And I'm all about a trip. I like to go. So I like to go places. I'm like, I don't know what it is, but I'll go. So we're down there, and this other agent who has purple hair walks up from another part of the country. This person had probably had multiple adult beverages at the time and was feeling herself.
Literally. No.
Well, I don't know. Maybe. So she comes up into this group of us and starts inquiring about average sale price and all these things. And, I guess where she lives, the average sale price is significantly higher than here where we live. And she started clowning me about my average sale price. And I'm like, why I don't understand why that matters. I get now why average sale price matters. But like at the time, I'm like, I'm just trying to make some sales, make some money. So anyways, long story short, later in the night, purple hair was interrogating my good friend Zach here. And I was just like, oh no, not today. Not happening today. So the genesis of there's a whole lot more to that story that I'm not going to get into.
We're just going to leave it at that.
But nonetheless, purple hair is for those who have it. I'm not judging you. Not my cup of tea. I don't know if it's Zach's favorite color of hair or not, but we'll just leave it there.
I have one more question.
Okay.
Before we sign off, and you might not even be a reader, but did you do any reading during the last couple of years? And if so, what is your favorite book that you would recommend?
Yeah, I mean, I'm reading Green Lights by Matthew McConaughey right now.
Oh, I saw that on the Oprah interview. On
All
Apple
right,
TV.
All right.
Yeah.
That's a good one. What's the best? I read a guy named Jason Wilson's book called Battle Cry.
Battle Cry.
Battle Cry. He's awesome. I mean, it's waging and winning the war within.
Mm-hmm.
It's about men.
Yeah.
But then I read a book called Believe It by Jamie Kern Lima. So she started It Cosmetics and sold it for $1 billion.
Wow. All right.
All those are good. I'm also have Atomic Habits that I'm going to read next.
Atomic Habits.
And that's, I mean, basically and Jay and I have been talking about our habits and, trying to set up habits that you can do every day, no matter if the days goes the best or goes the worst. So it's, that's a good one too.
Thanks for coming on the show.
No, thanks for having me.
You really do. There's so much more. We could really dive much deeper into things, but I really do think that you can help a lot of people that are going through some real tough crap.
Yeah.
Honestly, that is,
I appreciate
it can be ugly and not fun to talk about, but you have came out a better person.
Thank you.
A better father. You've always been a good friend, but I'm sure just your outlook on life is so much better now. And if it took going through that to get you here, then so be it.
Exactly.
So
appreciate it. Thank you for saying those things.
You're welcome.
I think the same of you.
Yep.
And of Jim.
Hey, we appreciate you, brother.
Appreciate y'all.
Thank you so much for joining us today for Messy Success with Tracy French and Friends. I'm Jim Hill, one of the friends, and joining us today, another friend, Zack Pitts. You stay classy, Louisville.